Maria Nebres.
Thanks for the jokes, indeed. There is this incredible power in a certain four-letter word that smarter than smart leaders tap into so that they can get something very meaningful accomplished and done. This four-letter word does not start with the letter F. This four-letter word is love. Love inspired unforgettable stories of great outcomes from artists, lovers, families, even organizations. And what does this love look and feel like? You might recall a time in your own life when you loved someone or something so much that nothing got in the way of you achieving the impossible for that love. Even as seemingly simple as when you'd be there for your son or your daughter's milestone event, or that important moment for a special loved one, despite the obstacles in your way, like the added 3-hour drive in the middle of rush hour after a long, hard day at work. That's love. In the workplace, imagine, or maybe you've experienced it, you and your team have just finished a meeting, and you're feeling that exciting vibe of inspiration, sharing laughter and engaging in discussion for those next creative breakthroughs because you fondly remember the time when you trusted each other through a critical goal, when you shared blood, sweat, tears, fears, goof-ups, victories, when you rose to the occasion because you were wanting to do something together and you did it together and you met it. That's love. Love is as essential as breathing, and it's the number one drive that makes everything possible because you're doing something that truly matters to you and to others. Imagine in the workplace, you found that number one single source for super high clarity, the team flow that naturally and creates the culture producing unforgettable, exceptional results time and time again. Okay, I would not be surprised if some of you by this time are flinching, thinking, really? She's going to talk about the L word? What's love got to do with leading anyway? I can understand. For decades in business, we've conditioned ourselves to believe that there is no place for love at work. Convinced that love is distracting, that it's irrelevant in business, even dangerous. I was convinced of this for years, and maybe you can relate. Fostering restrictive relationships for our bottom line goals, leading in a way that implied we could secure jobs if everyone just did the hours and focused on those business targets above all else. And in these times, maybe like me, you forgot about your own health. You forgot about your loved ones. You forgot about whatever it was that was important to you deep down. For me, while I was earning that income and status that I wanted, thinking I was so smart, I burnt out fast. I modeled and attracted stressful relationships that bred guilt, anxiety, mistrust, and resentment. I felt like a big fat fake, secretly. I acquired toxic habits to keep that secret, and not one, but 3 autoimmune diseases that proved the bane of my vibrant existence, until I found my way back to love. In this brief time with you, I'm going to illustrate the brilliance of love's compelling case for smarter leadership. My name is Maria Nebres. I help leaders and their people connect to exceptional results through love. With 27 years of experience in HR, a published author, and a certified trainer for Jack Canfield's Success Principles, I found that key to organizations in prospering today is in navigating our way back to love, so that we can quickly ignite our inspiration for high engagement, aligned productivity, and results that everyone can contribute to, can be proud of, can be moved by. The reality is, in today's business world, there's a revolutionary shift happening. We're shifting from an old way to a required higher level of leadership that believes love has a necessary place in business. Why? Because of those challenges for keeping up with competitive edge, for thriving for and through all stakeholders that matter. Our bosses, our employees, our partners, and therefore our customers, our society. I call this revolution shift the love revolution, one that raises our consciousness for a better way of taking care of ourselves and relating with ourselves and others. As leaders, we know we must take care of everything, from culture to well-being to purpose and meaning, making it all come together and come to life for everyone. And more than anything, as leaders, we want to be able to rally to a cause that we're trying to set, looking to the future to get something meaningful done. And yes, it is stressful, even painful, when we're faced with the never-ending cutbacks to plan for. The results to have to hit up on time with less people in less time, and through politics that may keep our place and status at work, yet drain us personally. You know it well, the long hours on the job, missed moments with loved ones, craving for that, thank God it's Friday, only to dread the Sunday blues because you know that another work week for you leading the tired you and you leading the tired team is just around the corner. So it begs this question, when you find yourself with your teams in your day-to-day moments, which do you find yourself steering from? Love and engagement or the bottom line? Does this answer for your question, or my question, really matter for your leadership? Studies show it should. In Canada, only 27% of employees are engaged. And in the US, only 32%. 88% of leaders report that the work and managing and leading others are the primary sources for stresses in their lives. And more than 90% of leaders indicate that they manage their stress by temporarily removing themselves mentally, physically, and emotionally from their source of stress, often their people. So who's rallying and who's leading here? Many of us think that we must lead by having to choose either love and engagement or the bottom line. I'm here to share that you don't have to choose. You can have both, and there is a way. Through a love engagement method I call FACTOR. It guides our aligned focus, our connection, our actions. And because of this, that bottom line is taken care of. Here's a case in point. I was recommended by a client leader of mine who introduced me to John, a senior leader who at our initial discovery meeting had said to me, and I'll never forget this, he said, Maria, my biggest problem is my people. They've been doing their jobs forever. They don't like change, they don't like to be led, and they don't like each other. I have a major funder who is expecting me to not only centralize multiple locations into one, but achieve high engagement scores and these business targets. And you know what? I don't have the right people here. frankly, I've had it with them, and I'm sick and tired of their whining and complaining. John brought me in within 24 hours and said to me, I'll work on the business strategy, and Maria, you can work on the people. What I noticed was that he was doing work that kept him from his core talent and needs, kept him from what he was really great at doing, the numbers crunching, setting direction, achieving strategic partnerships for the company. So you know what? We put a plan together and not only addressed his needs and core talent, but we also leveraged the core talent, love, and needs of his entire workforce. It took 12 months to pull together, and it gathered interesting feedback, like, it's so-and-so's fault, not mine. It figures so-and-so gets recognized. He always gets noticed, nobody else. My manager is constantly over my shoulder. Like, he doesn't trust me. Does he think I'm an idiot? We don't have leaders here. And if they exist, where are they and what are they doing? Does that sound familiar to you? For this team, it became the invaluable insight to identifying what truly needed to be addressed. That true gap from where they were to where they wanted to be. And what I loved about this experience was that I could see that the solution we came up with evolved and grew them from a bunch of loveless, angry zombies where they were relating in a mindset of this is us and that is them in cliques, where John himself was that kind of leader who was nowhere to be found, purposely avoiding and hiding from running into his employees, to a highly engaged team, the kind of engaged team where they knew exactly what they needed to do and they wanted to do it. And they actually achieved it. In fact, exceeded performance targets beyond the timeline expected. They exceeded their team targets while ranking them the highest in engagement scores for their industry for the next 4 consecutive years. And because of this, the high performers were secured from a retention standpoint. And more funding was granted for enhanced programs over the next 3 to 5 business years for them and for the communities they served. Imagine this for you and your team. I've worked with people who love their company because the companies loved them. And the companies authentically showed ways of investing and nurturing that love through things like that make sense from the heart, compassionate care measures, simple thank yous, and genuine acknowledgments that we are all people, that we all have a contribution, and that we all have value to contribute. In my experience, it seems to me that successful teams and transformative leaders, what they recall as inspiring and unforgettable is not so much the nitty-gritty of that numbers targets that they're being measured on. They tend to achieve regardless. No, what they remember fondly and are inspired by is their time together, working together, knowing that they have each other's back, trusting one another, and really purposely sharing a shared passion and clear purpose that serves all. If you're not convinced that love is the solution to smarter leadership and you want to stay the same or you want to choose something else, that's your choice. I know all too well some leaders who choose to maintain their leadership by managing through the bottom line and then expecting their teams to rally and feel pumped and engaged. But instead, what they actually get is low engagement scores, high turnover of performers that you would consider solid, and crazy costs of severance and recruitment for those employees who are just keeping their seats warm, if they're in at all. And in some cases, in some organizations, unnecessary unions that breed the mentality of us versus them, not love. If you choose love and you want to know more about this powerful four-letter word, I wrote a book called Love in the Highly Engaged Team. And it covers and highlights this love engagement method that I would love to share with you. So do me a favor, pull out your cell phones and take down my number, 416-988-5524. That's 416-988-5524. Text me with the word love, and let's get it started. Here's to your success, marking your legacy as a smarter leader, because you live by it, you're inspired by it, you choose it. You create, act, and model, not from the four-letter word starting with an F, but you model from love. Thank you.